Aiden Wilson's small body lay in the hospital bed. Sunlight pouring through the window of the white hospital room cast a faint shadow on his pale cheeks. At his bedside, his mother, Selena, put her hand on his forehead, confirming his fever had subsided. "How are you doing? Feeling any better?" Selena asked gently. Aiden smiled slightly. "Yes, my stomach pain has improved a little." "That's good." Selena sighed with relief. Being a pharmacist, she noticed that her son's complexion had improved slightly. Still, this had been happening for a year. Unexplained fevers, stomach pain, occasional vomiting, and diarrhea. Each time he was hospitalized, he'd undergo tests, briefly recover, and then be discharged. The symptoms would return, restarting the cycle. The room's door opened, and Marcus entered wearing a white coat. Aiden's father and a respected surgeon at the hospital. Marcus visited his son not as a doctor but as a dad. "Hey champ, how are you feeling today?" Marcus asked with a warm smile, placing his hand on his son's shoulder. Aiden's eyes brightened a bit. "Dad, I feel better than yesterday. The doctor said I might be discharged soon." Marcus looked at Selena. His face showed relief and concern. They were thinking the same thing. Was this another temporary recovery, or finally a sign of real healing? "That's wonderful news," Marcus said, gently stroking his son's hair. "When we get home, I'll take you to that baseball game I promised." Selena stood up and put her hand on Marcus's arm. "Can we talk in the hall for a moment?" Outside the room, Selena took a deep breath. "This is the 7th hospitalization, Marcus. The specialists still don't know what's causing this, but it's not normal. Something has been overlooked." Marcus looked at his wife with tired eyes. "I know. I've asked the hospital's technical team for more detailed tests. I've also sought advice from a pediatric specialist in Boston." "Thank you." Selena squeezed her husband's hand, tears welled in her eyes. "Sometimes my professional knowledge feels like a curse. All the possible explanations that come to mind, each more frightening than the last." Their conversation was interrupted by a happy voice from down the hall. "Hello, you two. How's Aiden?" Selena's sister, Vanessa, walked in carrying a large bouquet of flowers. Following her was Doris, Selena, and Vanessa's mother, holding a paper bag. "Mom, Vanessa, you came again." Selena smiled, greeting them. "Of course. I couldn't bear not visiting my precious grandson." Doris held up the paper bag. "I baked Aiden's favorite chocolate chip cookies. They should taste better than hospital food." Marcus nodded slightly to Doris. "Thank you as always. It's a great help when you look after Aiden while we're at work." Vanessa laughed cheerfully. "It's fine. We're family. Besides, Aiden and I have a special connection, don't we, Selena?" Selena agreed with her sister's words. Indeed, Vanessa had a close relationship with Aiden, and her nephew, W's mood often lifted when she visited. However, a creeping sense of unease had been growing in Selena's heart. "I want to see Aiden," Doris said. "He's feeling better today, isn't he?" "Yes, he seems a bit better," Selena answered. "But he's still weak, so please don't stay too long." Doris's lips tightened for a moment, then returned to a smile. "Of course. Aiden's recovery is the most important thing." The four of them went to the hospital room. When Aiden saw his grandmother and aunt, he managed a weak but happy smile. Doris immediately sat by the bed and gently kissed her grandson's cheek. "Grandma, can you imagine making 10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with it, stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious." "Boy, you look a bit better today," Selena observed her son's reaction with her pharmacist-trained eye as she watched her mother interact with him. Though the cause of his symptoms remained a mystery, her intuition told her something was wrong. He would recover in the hospital, then worsen after discharge. This strange pattern, and another odd thing she'd noticed recently. Aiden's symptoms often got worse after visits from her mother or Vanessa, who always brought food gifts. But that must be just a coincidence, Selena told herself. It was unthinkable that her family would hurt her beloved son. Nevertheless, her pharmacist training made it hard to ignore the pattern. Selena watched her, other and sister talking with her son, her own doubts stirring like shadows. Selina, shouldn't you go home now? You haven't rested in 3 days. Selina shook her head at her mother's words, squinting at the fading light coming through the hospital window. The hard hospital chair next to Aiden's bed was causing her back pain, but she refused to move. I'm fine, Mom. I want to be here after work and keep an eye on Aiden's condition. Doris sighed. You won't be any use to anyone if you collapse. Vanessa and I can take turns watching Aiden, especially now that Vanessa has started working at this hospital. Indeed. Vanessa had begun working as a clerk in the hospital's administration department the previous month. This was due to Marcus's recommendation. As his wife's sister, her hiring had been fairly easy. Selina had mixed feelings about this new development. Having her sister nearby was reassuring, but she also felt a strange tension. I brought something to drink. Doris took out a thermos. Your favorite herbal tea. It will help you relax. Selina accepted the bottle with a grateful smile. Her mother's care was her only comfort. She took a slow sip of the tea and looked at her sleeping son. Mom, have you ever heard of a child with similar symptoms? Doris's expression froze for a moment. What do you mean? Jeanette from the pharmacy was saying today that there was. 5 years earlier, a child with similar symptoms had been repeatedly admitted to the hospital. A parent, Tly, they never figured out the cause. You shouldn't listen to gossip. Doris's tone was tinged with annoyance. The doctors are doing their best for Aiden. The sound of the hospital room door opening interrupted their conversation. Vanessa entered, dressed in a white hospital uniform. Hello, everyone. I dropped by after work, she said with a smile. How's Aiden? His fever seems to have subsided a little, but he's still weak, Selina replied. Casually glancing at Aiden's chart, Vanessa said, I heard Dr. Brown ordered some new tests. I hope things are progressing. Selina frowned. How do you know that? Patient information should be private. Oh, I just saw it during administrative processing. Vanessa shrugged slightly. Don't worry, I signed a confidentiality agreement. Selina didn't press the issue further, but she felt uneasy about her sister's easy access to the hospital system. As night wore on, Selina began to feel drowsy. She drank her mother's herbal tea and briefly closed her eyes. Selina, wake up. Awakened by Marcus's voice, she saw morning sunlight streaming into the hospital room. She had fallen asleep in the chair. What time is it? Selina asked, disoriented. 7 a.m. Have you been here all night? Marcus's face showed concern. Selina slowly stood up, wincing from muscle aches. I didn't want to leave Aiden. Marcus placed his hand on his wife's shoulder. You need rest too. Go home today and sleep. I'll stay at the hospital until the afternoon. But Selina, please, no one benefits if you collapse. She nodded, reluctantly. Her body was reaching its limit. All right, but I'll be back this afternoon. Marcus smiled. Before that, I want to discuss the new test results. They arrived late last night. Selina's eyes widened. Did they find something? I can't say anything for sure yet, but they detected unusual trace chemicals in Aiden's blood. I'd like your opinion from a pharmacokinetics perspective. That's your area of expertise, right? Selina immediately forgot her exhaustion, switching into professional mode. Of course. Show me the results. Marcus handed her a tablet, and Selina began analyzing the numbers with her expert eye. Something caught her attention. The pattern of this compound. She paused. This may be a drug interaction. Or perhaps, she broke off. One possibility had occurred to her, but it was something she didn't want to consider. Or perhaps what? Marcus urged. Selina chose her words carefully. It looks like a compound that could only be explained by deliberate administration. Marcus's face darkened. What are you saying? That someone is giving Aiden something? It should be considered as one possibility, especially given the pattern of improvements in the hospital and worsening after discharge. That's ridiculous. Marcus raised his voice. Who would do such a thing? Harm our son? Selina was hurt by her husband's reaction, but maintained her composure. We shouldn't eliminate possibilities. Scientifica? Eli speaking. Scientifically? Marcus cut her off. This isn't a scientific discussion. It's about our son. Selina, you're too tired. Your worries are making you irrational. Their argument was interrupted when Vanessa entered the room. "Good morning," she said brightly. "You two look awfully serious." Marcus took a deep breath, regaining his composure. "We were discussing the test results. Selina, you really should go home and get some rest. Your judgment is impaired." Selina wanted to argue, but Vanessa's presence stopped her. "All right, but we need to talk more about this later." She kissed Aiden's cheek and left the room. Walking down the hospital corridor, doubts swirled in her mind. She was especially concerned about the test results Marcus mentioned. She stopped and logged into a hospital computer terminal to check her son's file. However, the specific test results she was looking for were not there. Puzzled, she approached her colleague, a lab technician. "Mike, have you seen the results of Aiden's special toxicology screening?" "Marcus showed them to me, but I can't find them in the system." Mike shook his head with a confused expression. "There's no record of that test." "Who requested it?" Selina's anxiety only increased. "Marcus," he said. On her way home, she took out her phone and contacted Laura, the hospital's security officer. "Laura, could you check the access logs for patient records? Specifically, my son Aiden Wilson's records. Is there a problem?" Laura's voice, CE, was laced with concern. "I don't know. I just feel like I'm missing something." Selina parked in front of her house and ended the call. Entering her home, fatigue suddenly hit her. She sat on the sofa, about to close her eyes for a moment, when the doorbell rang. Opening the door, she saw her mother standing there. "Oh, were you about to sleep?" Doris said. "I need to talk to you. It's about Aiden." Selina looked at her mother with tired eyes. "Did something happen?" "No." But Doris took a small bottle from her handbag. "I brought this. It's a natural herbal remedy. It will help boost Aiden's immunity. Mix a little with his hospital food." Selina took the bottle, feeling her pharmacist instincts raise warnings. "Thank you, Mom. But let me check what this is first." A flicker of anxiety seemed to cross Doris's eyes. "Don't you trust me? This is age, old wisdom. Don't rely so much on scientific testing." Selina said nothing and accepted the bottle. Before dawn, Selina's phone rang. "Mrs. Wilson, please come to the hospital immediately. Aiden's condition has suddenly worsened." The nurse's calm voice gripped Selina's consciousness. She jumped up, trying to wake Marcus, but his side of the bed was already empty. She frantically checked her messages and found a text from Marcus. "Got an emergency call. Gone to the hospital ahead of you. God, please protect Aiden." Selina barely dressed before rushing into her car. As the first light of day touched Boston, worry consumed her. Memories of the past few days flooded her mind. The herbal remedy from her mother, which she'd tested, showed traces of concerning substances. Not an instant poison in low doses, but something that could build up in the body with continued use and possibly cause health issues aligning with Aiden's condition. Upon reaching the hospital, Selina went directly to the intensive care unit. Her footsteps echoed through the silent ward as she rushed down the hall. Marcus, her husband, who had been waiting outside the ICU, found her and embraced her. Aiden's condition suddenly worsened. "The team is treating him now. What happened?" Selina's voice shook. "Sudden fever and seizures. His kidneys are also failing. We still don't know why." Selina stiffened in her husband's arms. "I need to tell you something." "What I found out?" "Not now, please," Marcus interrupted her. "Speculation can wait. It's time to pray for our son." Selina held her tongue. Her husband still dismissed her fears, but her conviction grew stronger. Aiden's symptoms weren't random. This wasn't just an accident. "Sorry, I forgot some documents in the car," Marcus suddenly said. "I'll go get them. Wait here." Selina nodded, sitting on a bench. Her hands trembled with exhaustion and dread. Through the small window of the ICU, she could see doctors and nurses working. Her beloved son was at the center of it all. Suddenly, her phone rang, making her jump. "Hello, Selina." It was her mother's voice. "I heard Aiden's in the ICU. I'm coming. Mom ho." "Did you know?" Vanessa told me. "She's been at the hospital since early." Selina frowned. Why was her sister at the hospital so early? Her shift shouldn't have started yet. "I see," she replied, and hung up. Then she remembered she'd forgotten Aiden's test results at home. Those documents could be crucial evidence. Selina checked the time. Marcus hadn't returned, and the doctors were still focused on Aiden. If it was quick, she could go home and back. Nurse Selina called to a nurse nearby. "I'm going home for some important papers. Could you tell my husband?" The nurse nodded, and Selina hurried to the parking lot. The drive was unusually quiet. The stillness before rush hour heightened Selina's anxiety. Arriving home, she grabbed the file with the test results. As she was leaving, something stopped Selina. A feeling? She turned to Aiden's room. Her son's bedroom was only meant for her to enter for hospital-related reasons or for the housekeeper. Approaching Aiden's door, Selina heard voices. Conversation from inside. She froze. "It'll be over soon." That was unmistakably her mother Doris's voice. "As long as no one finds out," followed by Vanessa's laughter. The light tone sent a shiver down Selina's spine. Selina's heart raced. With shaky hands, she pulled out her phone, opened the recording app, and approached the door. "It's really working out well," Vanessa continued. "No one has noticed. Selina suspects something, but Marcus doesn't believe her. Those doctors," Doris's voice was fill-in-hand, led with contempt. "They say they can't explain Aiden's condition, yet they're clueless. That's how they are. It was the same 10 years ago." "Did you see what happened to Marcus after Dad died?" Vanessa's voice turned cold. "After that accident, he got promoted. Jeff committed suicide, and we suffered, while he and Selina built their happy family. Marcus Wilson must pay." Doris's voice was low and dangerous. "By losing what's precious to him, just as he took from me." "Selina is just as guilty," Vanessa added. "She chose him. As the hospital chairman's daughter, she helped cover up the truth." Selina was stunned. Her head was a whirl. Her father's death, the suicide of Vanessa's fiancé, Jeff, and Marcus's involvement were all events she knew nothing about, and now her mother and sister were targeting Aiden as revenge. "This is the last time," Doris said. "I've increased the dose this time. Once it's all over, we can start a new life," Vanessa's voice continued. "It was clever to mix it in that bottle. Selina might have tested it, but she would only have found some of the ingredients. I created the most important component to be undetectable." Selina's body trembled, but she maintained her composure. Deciding she had enough, she quietly left. What should she do with this? Marcus still dismissed her fears. Should she go to the police? But the recording might not be enough. On her way back, Selina decided. First, she'd speak to a trusted colleague. David Chen, although not Aiden's doctor, was the hospital's toxicology expert and would listen to her. And most importantly, she needed to ensure Aiden's safety. Back at the hospital, Selina went to David's lab. Luckily, he was there. "David, I need your help urgently," she said. "Could you do a special test on Aiden without anyone knowing?" David looked up from his microscope and said seriously, "Specific toxins were found in Aiden's blood sample. It's a compound that, even in small amounts, can cause severe issues over time." Selina closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Anger and fear coursed through her, but it was time to think clearly and act. "I'll call the police," she said. Pulled out her phone. Before that, David lightly touched her hand. "We need more solid proof. The recording is only circumstantial. If we could catch them actually poisoning Aiden," Selina agreed. "Aiden's well-being is the top priority. I won't let my mother and Vanessa anywhere near him anymore." "That's not enough." David frowned. "Without proof of them committing the crime, a prosecution will be hard. To shield the child, we need a complete solution." Selina slumped into a chair, covering her face. "What should I do?" "How about putting up surveillance cameras at your house and your mother's?" David suggested. "Also, test everything Aiden eats." That evening, Selina revealed the truth to Marcus. At first, he refused to accept his wife's words. "Your mother and sister," that's Marcus said, voice shaking. "That's impossible. Here's the proof." Selina showed him the reco, Arding, and the test results. "Please, Marcus. For Aiden's sake, believe me." Marcus stared at the materials, silent. She saw the color drain from his face. "Why? Why would they do such a thing? Is there something you're keeping secret?" Selena quietly asked about the medical incident and my father's death that Mom and Vanessa were mentioning. A look of terror crossed Marcus's face. How do you know about that? Tell me the truth, Marcus. He let out a long sigh. 10 years ago, when I was a resident, your father had emergency surgery. I was on the surgical team. I know your dad died during the operation. The truth isn't that straightforward. Marcus looked down. That day, I made a mistake because I was exhausted. I missed key signs and treatment was late. The senior doctor covered for me, and the records were falsified to show an unavoidable problem. Selena was speechless. What? Jeff, Vanessa's fiancé, was also there as a nurse during the surgery where your father died. He knew the truth. The hospital chairman, your maternal grandfather, chose to cover up the incident. Jeff suffered from the guilt and eventually took his own life. Selena continued. And you got promoted. Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes. I've lived with that sin every day. But, coward that I am, I kept running from the truth. Why didn't you tell me? Selena's voice trembled. Fear. I was afraid of losing you, and now our son is paying the price, Selena said coldly. Our innocent Aiden is paying for your mistake. Their discussion was broken by an emergency call from the hospital. Aiden's condition had deteriorated again. At the hospital, Selena and Marcus met with toxicologist David and Detective Carter. Selena had already given evidence to the police. Aiden is stable, the doctor reported. However, any more poisoning would be dangerous. We've arranged 24-hour security, Detective Carter said. Your mother and sister can't approach the room. But, without concrete proof, a long-term detention is difficult. Leave it to me, Selena said. The next day, Selena invited her mother to her home. Tiny cameras set up throughout the house recorded everything. How is Aiden? Doris asked worriedly. A little better, Selena replied quietly. But he's still weak. Oh, that's good. Doris's voice was a mixture of relief and disappointment. I'll bring something else. Did you try that herbal remedy? Yes, Selena answered as planned, but it doesn't seem to be working yet. Should I increase the amount? Doris's eyes lit up. Yes, try doubling the dose. It should speed up Aiden's recovery. After that talk, Doris started mixing something in the kitchen. While Selena deliberately went away, Doris added something to Aiden's food. The hidden cameras caught the whole process. 3 days later, with solid proof, Selena and Marcus gave everything to the police. Detective Carter's team arrested Doris and Vanessa. Multiple toxins and mixing equipment were found at their houses. A week after the arrests, Selena sat with Marcus in Aiden's hospital room. The boy's appearance was gradually improving. Mom, what happened to Grandma and Aunt Vanessa? Aiden asked in a small voice. Selena met Marcus's eyes. How should they explain? We won't be seeing them for a while, Selena said gently. They did something wrong, and now they have to face the consequences. Did they make me sick? Selena was surprised by Aiden's understanding. Yes, son, Marcus answered. But don't worry anymore. It will never happen again. I promise. Aiden nodded slightly. Dad, Mom, can we be a normal family again? Selena hugged her son. Of course, Aiden. We are always family. We will be even happier from now on. On the day the trial started, the courtroom was tense. Doris and Vanessa stood there, showing no emotion. Selena could no longer see any affection in the faces of the mother and sister she once loved. The judge asked, How did the defendants plead? Not guilty. Doris's voice was calm. We were only trying to get justice for a family that was killed by the medical system. On a rainy Sunday afternoon, Selena took an envelope from the mailbox. Seeing the return address, her chest tightened. It was a letter from the State Women's Correctional Facility. 6 months had passed since the trial. She returned to the living room and put the unopened letter in a coffee table drawer. It was the 3rd letter from her mother. The first 2 were still sealed in the same drawer. Any important mail? Marcus called from the kitchen. Just bills. Selena smiled in response. She didn't want to worry her husband. Outside the window, Aiden was playing with the other children in the rain. His laughter, fully recovered, could be heard over the rain sounds. Selina felt a warmth in her chest at the sight. "He's a strong kid," Marcus said, standing beside her, gazing at their son. Even the trauma counselor was amazed. "Aiden's resilience is amazing," Selina nodded. "He rarely talks about what happened, but sometimes he wakes up from nightmares in the middle of the night." Marcus put his arm around her shoulder. "Just like us." They stood in silence. The past 6 months, the family had been in the process of reconciliation for days. Marcus had quit the hospital's management and confessed about the medical mishap from a decade prior. Although his career suffered, he had no remorse. He'd started a foundation to help families affected by medical errors. Selina was chosen to head the hospital's patient safety improvement team. Her experience provided her with an adeptness for spotting system defects. Once Aiden was asleep after supper, Selina returned to the living room. The letters in the drawer were heavy on her mind. She took a breath, opening the first envelope. "Dear Selina," the handwriting of her mother caused her pain. The letter showed no contrition. Doris alleged Marcus was to blame and tried to get Selina to side with her family. The second letter was akin to the first. "Are you reading them?" Marcus asked softly. He had known Aparisa, LL, along what his spouse was up to. "Yes," Selina responded with a weak smile. "You knew." Marcus sat next to her. "I knew you had to handle this on your own." Selina opened the third letter and read its contents. Unlike the other two, this one had an air of hopelessness. Doris and Vanessa were in prison, shunned by the other inmates. The shame of harming a child made them outcasts. "Will you reply?" Marcus inquired. After a lengthy pause, Selina nodded. "Yes, it'll be the last." The next day, Selina penned a short letter to Doris and Vanessa. "You may be kin, but you are no longer my family. Thanks for teaching me that real family isn't blood, but love and trust. Never contact me again, Selina." She placed the letter in the mailbox and breathed deeply. Wiping away a tear that flowed down her face, she got in her car. In the rearview mirror, she saw Aiden and Marcus walking to school. "Mom, hurry!" Aiden waved from the window. Selina smiled and went towards them. In her heart, sorrow for her fractured family went with thankfulness for her new family that she had defended. And she knew wounds would mend. They might not totally vanish, but they could progress together, believing that truth and love would be the strength to beat the darkness.